Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another brand new episode of Strong Style here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I tell you, I love doing the show every Saturday. I'm the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by my brother right there, Aaron Turner. How are you, bud?
It's been an up and down week for me, man. I'm nursing a bit of a knee injury. I got a PS5.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. And then I played an FCL match, so that's good. So it's looking up.
Yeah.
So up and down.
Unfortunate result, but still you played it, so that's a good thing.
Spoiler alert, everybody.
Well, for the person you played, I mean, unfortunate result for the person you played. Sorry, I don't mean to spoil anything, please. But yeah, it was on Twitch there for people to watch. So go see the Titan, Aaron Turner, taking on the song stylings of Alex Marzoni. I don't know what's his nickname in the FCL. I don't know.
What was it? I forget. The Melody. Okay. The Melody.
The Melody. The melody. Arrogance of the Melody. I love it. That's awesome.
And for the record, screw Ed Harris and screw Angelina Jolie.
Oh, there you go. All right. Said very proudly. All right. I respect that. But yeah, we're going to get into all the stuff going on in the world of professional wrestling as well, aside from the numerous maladies Aaron is nursing right now. But we're going to get into all things. Of course, we're going to have our tribute to Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful, who sadly passed away this week at 71. We're also going to talk about AEW Fyter Fest, first night one. We'll talk about Raw, NXT, and Smackdown. A lot of surprises going around across all those brands. And we'll have our preview of Money in the Bank that is happening this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And maybe, just maybe, it might be fun to do a Twitch watch along of that one as well. So it could be a lot of fun. Once Aaron figures out how to get on Twitch on the PS5, I think we'll be set to go maybe and do some extra content on there. We shall see. But yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. And please remember the Streamlabs super chats are open. Streamlabs address right above Aaron's head. It's in the description of this chat. And I'm going to put it in the description of this video, and I'll put it in the chat in just a second. I don't know why I can't get that right every week. In the chat, I'm going to put that in there, pin it there, and then it's in the description of this video. Send us some support. Let's have a good, positive day today, everybody. Let's have a positive support. Let's send us some stuff. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to ask us? Send us some support for the show. Maybe we got some stories to tell you. We'll do all of that. So as we go along. All right. Thank you very much. And please remember to hit that like button as we go along as well. What do we got, Aaron? What do we got first?
Got a super chat already, but let's get into the news. A very somber, some somber news this week as we lost WWE Hall of Famer and all-around bad mama jamma, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff at the age of 71. There he is in all of his glory.
Yeah.
And we've got, if you don't know who Paul Orndorff is, I mean, you got to look back at his legacy. I mean, he was in the first inaugural WrestleMania, teaming with Roddy Piper against Hulk Hogan and Mr. T.
Yeah.
Orndorff worked a lot on top with Hulk Hogan during Hogan's biggest runs in 88 and 89, hitting the height of the WWF Championship match on Saturday night's main event number 9, drawing 76,000 fans. Mm-hmm. That's WrestleMania numbers for a Saturday night's main event. Of course, the match was initially ruled a draw, but then, of course, after restart, Hulk Hogan would go on to win because Hogan must pose, brother. Orndorff would suffer an arm injury in a weightlifting accident and would forego surgery, continuing to work, causing his arm muscle to atrophy, which was what led to his early retirement and from full-time wrestling competition during that Hogan run. He was quoted as saying that he didn't want to give up on all that money that he was making to go get surgery because, I mean, you're on top, you're drawing all these crazy fans. 76,000. They drew like 50-some thousand at a stadium show, him and Hogan. So,
yeah,
I mean, you're making big money. So it ended up costing them in the end with, muscle atrophy is no joke. And then Paul Orndorff was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2005, as he should have been, right alongside Cowboy Bob Orton and Roddy Piper. One of the things that I took away from this that somebody showed me, it's very sad. If you look at the Bobby Heenan family, that whole stable that he had, every single member of the Bobby Heenan family has passed.
Wow.
From, Bobby to Mr. Perfect to Paul Orndorff to Rick Rude to Andre, everybody has passed, and it's very sad. Wow. But Paul Orndorff, to me, is one of those guys that I always remember for being like a legitimate tough guy. Like, in an era of WWF where like you have these gimmicks like Brutus the Barber Beefcake and Macho Man Randy Savage and Ultimate Warrior and these over the top characters, Paul Orndorff was like just a guy that could just like really beat your ass, and you believed it. So Paul Orndorff was like all fluff or no fluff, and all business, and I really appreciate that about him. So, just it's very sad. I remember him a lot, of course, from his WWF run, but a lot more really from his WCW run, because that's what I was kind of getting into wrestling there in the 90s, where he was a WCW television champion. He had a tag team title run with Paul Roma. And I always remember Paul Orndorff as being that badass tough guy. Unfortunately, suffered some cancer issues, was able to get through that, but then it looked like he had a bout of dementia, and that's unfortunately what ended up. It looked like a couple weeks ago it was looking really bad for him. Then he was on the comeback trail.
Yeah, he was drinking beer. His son posted
drinking beers and having a good time, and it sucks. So, R.I.P. Mr. Wonderful. Of course, he's in my collection. The great Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. So
that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, when I grew up, brother man, Paul Orndorff was a staple of what you were watching in the what was the WWF at the time. Him, Roddy Piper. Would you have Coco Beware? All those guys back then. Hogan, of course, Savage, the B. Brian Blair, Sheik, all those guys were there. But Ordorff was one of those guys that stood out. Like it's really hard to find a way to stand out amongst all that stuff. But Ordorff was one of those guys that really stood out. And you always felt like he had this chip on his shoulder. He had this way of being that was at times you couldn't tell if it was real or not. He was so effective at what he was doing that you couldn't tell if it was real. And there was like rumors that him and Piper actually got into it in a real, when they were showing a TV fight or whatever, down the aisle back into the locker room, that it was a legitimate fight, a shoot fight that they got into because Piper had hit him in a certain way that pissed him off, and they just really went at it. So, that was at that time when stuff like that could happen. But of course, I watched a bunch of interviews over the week from people like George the Animal Steele and other people that have worked with Orndorff, and they talk about his bipolar, that he was bipolar before something like that could be diagnosed as bipolar. He had some issues because he could turn on a dime with extreme anger in certain situations, certain moments, if he felt threatened or he felt something was going on. So when you look back now on his character work and the stuff he was doing, he was always a victim. He always felt he never got his just due. And I think some of that was born out of a real feeling in the company and in the business that Hogan, because they asked him on some shoot interview, like, do you think Hogan was a good champion? He said, no. What he was great to carry the belt. He was great to uplift, but he was not a good champion because he refused to drop the belt. Like it wasn't a thing. And back then, you had to kind of understand that other people could have. And they asked him, would you have been a great champion? He goes, yeah, I would have known exactly what to do with the belt, but they never gave me a real run with it. And I had that one match, but couldn't quite. They never really just believed in me to carry it. And a heel can sell the belt. This was a time of Ric Flair. This was a time when heels were selling belts all over the place in different promotions, different areas. But Orndorff never got a chance to be in that position. So when him and Hogan came together, of all the betrayals that Hogan suffered all the time in the 80s, it was the same cliche all the time, same storyline. Yeah. His was the most memorable because Orndorff was so pissed, and you felt for Paul. Like you were like, oh no, it's just, why isn't Hogan coming? Yeah, it makes sense. Why isn't Hogan coming to the phone? And Hogan's weak ass excuse that he was in the middle of a set. Like you just kind of felt that this was a tragedy when they turned it. Whereas the Savage one is the most memorable because he hit him and all of that, and the jealousy and all that. Orndorff's was the one that stands out for me as the one that felt like it could have been saved. It could have been redeemed storyline wise. And I thought that was brilliant because Paul played it so well. I've got a picture of that. Yeah, like this whole thing where they're interacting and he's trying to convince him, they're about to go off with this tag team thing and everything like that. And then when Hogan says, I tried to tag you, brother. And the way he says, I try to tag your brother, is him being shot back into Paul Orndorff. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? So it was just such a great program that he worked with Hogan. And he was every bit as good, charming, interesting, technically a better wrestler than Hogan, but he was every bit as good of telling a story in the ring with Hogan. I think it's one of the best programs Hogan ever worked was with Orndorff, and seeing him turn on Hogan was one of those betrayals that you'll never forget. And him going back with Adrian, was it Adrian Adonis, Precious, whatever his name was, Adrian Adonis or whatever it was, the flower shop, whoever held the flower shop.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Was that what it was? Yeah.
Adrian Adonis.
Yeah, Adrian Adonis with the flower shop, and him. He's like, "You made the right choice. You made the right decision." He even kissed him on the cheek, and then Heenan behind him. So he had just this personality, man, that you always wanted to see. And yeah, he had that run in WCW as well. Remember that scene where he can't figure out if Paul Orndorff has lost it, and he's like freaking out in the locker room, and Spivey shows up to talk to him. It was just like, this is nuts. But Paul was always willing to do those things in those situations, and always a lot of respect for him. And dude, a legitimate athlete. That guy was a star at the University of Tampa. He was drafted by the Saints. He tried, he left the Saints and then tried to get on with the Chicago Bears, then realized it just wasn't for him, and he found a new life. He's an incredible athlete who found a new life in professional wrestling, legitimate athlete, and it showed in all his work. I never saw a boring Paul Orndorff match, Mr. Wonderful, ever in my life.
Yeah, man. I mean, he said it himself, the best wrestler to ever come out of the state of Florida. So he would say that a lot. I was going back and watching like some old matches and stuff, and I found this gem. It's an old school promo of, well, it's like 8 minutes long, so it's not really a promo, but it's Mr. Wonderful teaching like 5 schlubs how to lift weights. It's incredible. He's standing there, and he's got all these people around, like men and women, and he goes, all right, first things first. The first rule is this: you're never gonna look like me. You can't. I'm Mr. Wonderful. There's no way you can look like me. So get that out of your brain first. And it's tremendous. Like you guys need to look that up on YouTube. It's really great. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people in the chat were talking about it, so we might as well mention the fight that he had with Vader in WCW.
Oh, so
the story goes that Vader was taking too long on a photo shoot or something like that, and Paul Orndorff told him to hurry his fat ass up, and then Vader sucker punched him. And that was a mistake because Paul Orndorff is a legit badass.
He is a legit badass, dude.
And proceeded to beat the shit out of Vader with one arm, essentially, because his other arm, of course, was atrophied and didn't really work as well. And was kicking him in the face with his bare feet because he had sandals on, and was kicking the shit out of him. So do not mess with Paul Orndorff. Like, I know Vader's like a big guy, but by all accounts, he was a big teddy bear. So when you get in there, like, Paul Orndorff was not going to be intimidated by Vader in any way, shape, or form. So wrong dude to kind of pull that on. That's like pulling something like that on Scott Steiner. Like, don't even try it. Yeah. So that's a fun story that's been floating around. Poor Leon Vader getting the living crap beat out of him by Paul Orndorff.
It's incredible, dude. And there's footage of him, like, when he was first starting out with like Backlund and all these guys. He was training under a certain people, and you're seeing like the kind of, and it's the thing. I know there may be some guys like that nowadays. I don't know that we talk about them that much, but back then, dude, there were some legitimately badass mofos in wrestling, man, and they liked pain. And they like to go through pain and inflict pain. To them, pain was success. To them, pain was part of the process. And you're watching these things, you're like, oh my God, it's like the dungeon, the heart dungeon. Like, it's these people are getting just absolutely pushed to the brink. You're throwing up, they're soiling themselves, whatever. And it was part of the process, And so I don't know if you see it that much nowadays. Not that I'm not trying to compare, say one, but back then that's how it was. And Paul was born from that. You know what I'm saying? And so to see him get out there and do the things that he was doing, it was always great. I always quietly cheer for that SOB. I always did. I love the arrogance of putting wonderful on your tights. Mr. Wonderful on the tights. It was just brilliant. And the way and his explosions of anger when he would get so frustrated. I mean, that sequence when he's on the phone and he can't reach Hogan and he's yelling in the phone and everything, just genius. And then he's yelling at Hogan, and Hogan's like, just get your head straight. My head straight. My head straight. My head straight. And just gets on out there. It was great to watch him. And I quietly liked him more than Piper sometimes. So that's just me. But it's a shame. But dude, to be honest with you though, Aaron, 71 years old for people from that era, it's pretty incredible.
Good life, long life, yeah.
A good life. A lot of wrestlers have died way before 71 from the same era. So great to see that Paul was able to live at least 70 years. Sad to hear about the tough years at the end there, but he's a tough man who lived it on his own terms, for better or worse. And if you want to go back and watch some of his interviews with these guys who have these YouTube channels, who got a chance to sit down with them, they're very illuminating interviews. The man pulls no punches, and I kind of appreciate that for sure. And definitely watch George the Animal Steele's conversations about Paul. Very tender, understanding, but also real, also honest conversations about what it was like to work with Paul and to have Paul in the locker room. So, so RIP, man, to one of the greats, dude, for sure, for so many reasons, man.
Yeah, that whole era, man, is just bygone. Like, I saw a picture of Cowboy Bob Orton the other day. Was at a convention. I'm just like, is that Randy Orton's dad or is that Randy Orton's grandpa? I'm not sure, but
yeah.
Time is coming.
Yeah,
it's very sad.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. We got some Streamlabs, or one Streamlab and a couple of super chats that came through. Please, ladies and gentlemen, send in some Streamlabs here. Send in some support for the channel, support for our conversations as we go along. Mike Broski said, "Thank you for all you do, Rocha. In honor of crowds returning last night, what are some of your favorite pop/crowd moments? For me, in no particular order, it's CM Punk at Money in the Bank, Triple H returning at MSG, Foley winning the title on Raw, and Nakamura's debut at TakeOver, NXT TakeOver." So, yeah, what do you got, Aaron? Do you have some pops? Do you have some favorite pops for you?
Sure. The Mick Foley Championship one's great. The Stone Cold one that comes out, it's tremendous. I like Brock Lesnar when he returns and beats up John Cena.
Oh, yeah.
I would say my favorite one, only because I was there, so I'm partial to it, is the Hardy Boys returning at WrestleMania 34, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people kind of thought, but weren't really sure they were going to show up. And when they did, the place exploded. So those are some of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I would have to throw in the Hogan in Toronto when he was going to face The Rock. I mean, that pop was out. That was monkeys in a cage, man. It was crazy to see how many people went insane. They were throwing feces on the wall. It was nuts to see them get excited for Hogan coming out, and they refused to let him be the heel, which I thought was just what power people have when they're all together, unified for something they want to see. There's nothing anyone can do about it. It was great to see there. Stone Cold pop. I mean, Stone Cold, whatever. But I think the Stone Cold went against when the invasion was happening before he turned on WWE. That when he shows up in the truck and he just beats the crap out of everybody with pool cues, and then rolls up in there and delivers like 10 stunners of varying degrees of goodness. He delivers the stunners throughout and ends up clearing the ring. Was great. I also think when they introduced The Rock as the special, whatever. Massive. Yeah, it was so quiet in the arena, and it went dark and nobody knew. And then boom, it was The Rock, and that place lost their effing minds. I'd also throw in Edge when he came back from the injury at Royal Rumble, right? Like a couple of years ago or 3 years ago. That pop was out of control. And I guarantee you, when Becky shows up, that pop is going to blow the roof off the stadium when she shows up for sure. So those are some pops I would throw out there. Let's see here. Chris Miner says, watching SmackDown with fans last night was fun. Can't wait to be at Raw live in Orlando on August 9th. I'm afraid this high won't last long, though, due to some of the writing.
I think people are going to be so happy to be back watching wrestling live that they're not going to give a crap, and then give it a couple, give it 6 months, and then people will care again. But I mean, I don't know if we're going to get to Raw or SmackDown in Orlando the way the COVID numbers are going, but for God's sake, hopefully we get there. That's how fandom is. So everybody's going to hate the product eventually. It's either going to make WWE up their game, or it's just going to be everybody meandering.
That's a good point. Aaron Entertainment wants to know, who do you see facing Deonna tonight? Who do you see facing that? What do you see there?
It's a good question. I think it's just going to be very disappointing. I think it's going to be a letdown for people. Everybody's expecting one of the free agents. Is it going to be Peyton Royce? Is it going to be Billie Kay? Is it going to be Mickie James? Who's going to step in? I really think you're just going to get Su Yung, who's already in Impact. Because she's been playing a different character, and then you're going to get that dark character out of her. So I think it's going to be disappointing.
Yeah.
Disappointing for most people. It's just going to be too young.
Well, speaking of Impact, dude, should we follow up on our Chelsea Green story from last week? We should mention this.
Oh boy.
We should definitely mention this. We opened the show last week talking about Chelsea Green, talking about some of the comments she made, some of the tea she spilled about WWE. And then Aaron alerted me that she had followed me on Twitter, and then I was like, "What?" And then I went back and watched the episode. And I'm like, "Oh, there's no way!" And then, sure enough, within an hour after the episode dropped, after she had followed me, she unfollowed me, and then she went and joined Ring of Honor, which I thought was a hell of a swerve there. Aaron, what was that all about? What's your speculation on what that was all about in terms of her joining Ring of Honor? I'm sure she watched our show, and some of your not very complimentary comments. It was like, yeah, I'm not going to follow this jerk anymore.
I think she was like, oh, great, people are talking about me. Then she watched the episode and said, okay, maybe not. And then she signs
we talked about her. Man.
Oh, well, yeah, we definitely did. But Ring of Honor is to be like an even weirder move because Impact, like a couple weeks ago, had 60,000 viewers, which is god awful. For a television show. So you're going to go to Ring of Honor, which is probably has even less viewers or even less of an imprint. So I don't know what you're trying to prove, but I don't know if it's going to be on a big enough stage that people are going to care. You have all the talent in the world to do these things. I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm not saying that you can't pull it off. I just don't understand the mind frame of it, and maybe I'm not because I'm not supposed to. I'm not a wrestler. I don't know what that's like. Maybe it's good for her and good for her bank account. And if that's the case, then good on you. But that would not have been my first choice if I was a wrestler. But then again, I'm not. So good luck, Chelsea. Back in the cast though, so she's not exactly ready to go. She's having. I think an elective surgery is what I saw to repair some issues that she's still having with that wrist. So we'll see.
Aaron Entertainment said she went to Ring of Honor because of her connection to Maria Kanellis, I would think. Well, certainly possible.
Can we talk about Maria Kanellis for just a second? You want to talk about somebody?
She was going to follow me. Now she's going to unfollow me. All right, go ahead.
Here comes. Oh, they talked about me? Oh, crap. Maria Kanellis might be the most annoying person on planet Earth as far as the wrestling business. And I'm as someone that's in the wrestling business because she keeps like putting this thing up about like when she was in WWE, she would basically constantly complain about her spot. And that always annoyed me because it's like you were brought in to do a thing and then you're like not doing the thing. Like you were off TV, you got pregnant. That's not, that's whatever, but that's why you were off TV and then you got pregnant again. So they can't really put anything behind you when you're not on TV. So that always annoyed me. And I think she always kept saying like, oh, bring the Divas belt back. Like I want Divas with me in WWE. I'm a diva. It's like, yeah, we're past that era now. So I don't know what the hell you're trying to perpetuate. And I just generally find her annoying these days. Like she played the ditzy character in WWE for a while. And I thought that was like a character, but I think that might be a shoot. So sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I liked her when she first came out on, was it WCW when she first came out and it got some notoriety and then
I don't think so. I think she's WWF.
Okay. So maybe that's what it is. WWE Diva Search. When she first came out, I thought, okay, we got options. There's possibilities here. But every single time, those programs really never took off. She never really was over that much with the fans. Yeah, I think she posed for Playboy and it's cool and all, getting attention, do whatever. Then they brought her back to do this kind of thing with her husband. It was terrible, absolutely horrible. Her, emasculating him. It was terrible because she can't act. It was terrible. It didn't work. It was boring. It was the worst part. I mean, when we did our Raw reviews with Ryan, me and Ryan, I always bashed that because it was so boring. It wasn't worth anything and it didn't go anywhere. So for her to come out and be complaining about her spot, let me tell you something. Aaron, this is what happens in the Schmodown. People complain all the time that they don't get the spots. They don't get their attention. And you look at their record and you look how they're not over with the fans. And in their minds, they think they're over with the fans because 10 people reached out to them and said something. And it's like, no, you got to be over at a whole nother level to be thinking you deserve any kind of spot when you haven't proven that you deserve any kind of spot, either by your wins, by your character work, or by the things you've done with the fans or whatever, or your matches. This is the same thing in pro wrestling. It's really kind of obviously because it's a base in pro wrestling with the Schmodown. It's the same thing. There's a lot of people complain, oh, no, I should be giving this. I should be giving that. No, earn your shit. actually really get over, actually really have interesting matches, really have memorable matches, then you get over. Have a better win-loss record, then you get over. Same thing, Maria, is like, get better work, do better work. Then at that point, have matches that anybody remembers, and then maybe you'll have the conversation of whether you should be in a spot or not. So it's just sour grapes to me in the end, and it's unfortunate because it's just not reality. But some people just have an overinflated sense of themselves, and they're not smart enough to have a little bit more of a bigger perspective on these things, and just only see that if they just got the opportunity, if they don't ever want to say, oh, it's me who messed it up. It's me who didn't have the right tools. It's me that doesn't have the right personality, right charisma, right charm, right combo of X factors to be able to. Can't possibly be me. It's them. And that's always a mistake because you got to take a look at the fact if you got multiple opportunities you couldn't get over, what can I tell you? You know?
Well, Maria, we appreciate your block that's coming pretty soon. So
yeah, probably.
Appreciate that.
Probably. Yeah. All right. Where are we off to next, my man?
Oh, speaking of, we're talking about one terrible woman. Now let's talk about the greatest woman ever made. We're talking about NXT, the NXT report.
Yeah.
And that is the fact that we'll go down the card and we'll talk about some cool stuff that happened.
Sure.
Dakota Kai defeated Ember Moon. Big win for Dakota Kai. Ember Moon without Shotzi now, so it's kind of like Ember Moon on her own, but we talked about that last week. Ember Moon's going to be fine because she's going to be moved into that thing with Raquel. It's going to be fine.
Okay, if you say so.
I think she'll be fine.
All
Raquel
right.
Gonzalez will face Xia Li next week on NXT for the Women's Championship. Probably be just an absolute squash. Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter defeated Aaliyah and Jessie Kamea of the Robert Stone brand.
Yeah.
And then we had Saray defeat Gigi Dolan as a familiar face looks on. And that familiar face is God's greatest creation, my peach, Mandy Rose, looked on. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. Breathe it in, ladies and gentlemen.
What is wrong with you?
The most beautiful woman on planet Earth.
Wow.
Mandy Rose. Of course, it's the first week I've missed of NXT going there live in a month is the day that Mandy Rose comes back, and she didn't even text me about this. I'm a little bit upset. But yeah, it looks like Mandy Rose has been traded from Raw to NXT in exchange for Aaliyah of the Robert Stone brand. Who turned on Robert Stone, is no longer with the brand, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it looks like Mandy will be doing some stuff in NXT. I think she's going to lead her own stable. I think that's what we're gearing towards. And I think that'd be good for her. NXT, people forget, like a lot of people online were like, oh man, Mandy got downgraded to NXT. It's like, yeah, they're also on national television. So it's like, how is that really a downgrade? Yeah, you're not on Monday Night Raw, the show that absolutely sucks right now. Yeah. And you're on NXT, arguably like the fan favorite brand. So it's like, it's a win-win for Mandy Rose because she can go down there, she can get a beefy storyline where she'll get more television time, and they'll do more things with her than I think they would have done on Raw. So I think that works great for her, and she has a chance to hone different skills. Like, does she want to be a manager? Does she want to wrestle part-time? Does she want to wrestle full-time and then learn some different stuff? Get some different opponents. Fresh coat of paint on Mandy Rose is never a bad thing. The comparisons to Trish Stratus were there. If you know Trish Stratus's debut, where she came down and just looked. And man, I'm excited, not because I'm just such a big fan, but I'm excited for what she can do. I think she's got talent, and I think people just bypass it because of her looks. Like, of course she's a beautiful woman, but she's athletic as hell, so she can do a lot of things.
Okay. So Chris Taylor says Mandy Rose Trish clone.
And is that a bad thing? That's good Lord.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't Aaliyah getting beat all the time? So how is this a fair trade? I'm confused by the trade factor of this all. Who made the trade? Is the Phantom Raw general manager making this trade from the computer? Like, what are we doing here? I get that they have to push a storyline. But that's the thing. How can you have a trade if two people don't even have the conversation about the trade happening? It's just traded.
It happens all the time in sports. What are you talking about?
Well, no, but someone made a deal. You know that the two teams made a deal. There's no report that the NXT Raw, that Regal or Samoa Joe and the Raw general manager got into a room and had a discussion, and this is what worked out for them financially. Because I guarantee you, Mandy Rose makes way more than Aaliyah. So if you're going to talk to me about a trade, how did the money work? So all of that kind of stuff, I just think it's ridiculous. Don't even say trade. Just say she's being moved to NXT. I don't understand the trade even usage here. It's so lame. That being said, though, I agree with you. I think this is a great move for Mandy. A smaller pond, she will stand out. She will be highlighted really well. And you know what? And this is something that I think a lot of people need to start embracing more and more. If NXT is the best you can do, that's okay. That is national television. Okay, it's still national television. You got rabid fans, and you can really work in there. So stay in there. Gargano's been in there forever. Ciampa's been in there forever. That is okay. The fucking Undisputed Era has been there forever. That is okay. That if that's the best you can do, and that's where you get highlighted, and that's where you get classic matches and great back and forth and all of that, then great. Go down there and make it work and kick some ass. And I think Mandy can down there. Aaliyah's going to get lost on the Raw roster, and it's not going to matter. But I like that Mandy's got a little bit more of a platform now, a little bit more of a showcase for her, and now she can really kind of step into this. Ember Moon's made a great career revival going down there, so why not? Finn Balor, same thing. Revival to his career, back on up now into SmackDown, and we'll see what goes on with that. But I think this is a great move for Mandy overall.
Absolutely. I mean, let's go ahead and talk about the end of the show, which was Johnny Gargano losing to Karrion Kross, pretty much getting a beat down. And then Karrion Kross just says, you know what? I'll just choke out Samoa Joe just for the hell of it. There it is. Look at that picture, choking out Samoa Joe after the match is over. So apparently, my guess is that Joe is cleared or is going to be close to being cleared. And that's going to be a big matchup that we're going to get for the NXT Championship, Samoa Joe and Karrion Kross.
Right.
And I'm all for that. But, Johnny Gargano did what he could. The way we're supporting Johnny Gargano, we're supporting Johnny Wrestling.
Yeah.
But you don't provoke Samoa Joe. And that's definitely what Karrion Kross has done. What do you think of that? Yeah,
I thought it was surprising. And, but it was being set up, obviously, with Regal saying, he's not going to be able to fight back unless he gets touched first. So there was there's that stuff with Adam Cole, and there was rumors of one thing or another. And then, boom, Karrion does his thing here in this match, which is ironic because he won the match. Do you know what I'm saying? It's strange if you win the match. People who win the match but then want to kind of complain about the match, those are very confusing people to me. And then he jumped on top of what's-his-face and Samoa Joe and choked him out. So now they're setting this up. Look, he beat everybody in contention for his belt, a couple of pay-per-views ago in that 5-way or 6-way match. So who's left? You bring in a veteran like Samoa Joe to really challenge Karrion Kross. And you know what? This plan is working, Aaron. We bash the writers, we bash creative sometimes about certain things, but we also got to give them their flowers, give them their plaudits when certain things are working, certain storylines are working. And it certainly seems to me like this Karrion Kross one is working because they have kind of pulled Scarlett a little bit less and less on the mic, a little bit less and less of attention on Scarlett. And Karrion Kross is doing better on the mic, doing better in his matches. He's getting over a little bit more. And now this possibly could put him into another great position and get him over even more with the fans if he can go toe-to-toe with Samoa Joe and deliver a classic match and end up on top, which I imagine he will.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before Kross is on Raw or SmackDown. Probably Raw, I think, is where he would go. So it makes sense to have this big feud on the way out with Samoa Joe if that's what they're going to do. And then if Samoa Joe ends up winning the championship, then Joe's got fresh opponents. How many times have we seen him go to face with Pete Dunne? Everybody would love to see that. Him and Tommaso Ciampa, him and Adam Cole, him and Kyle O'Reilly, him and Roderick Strong. I mean, there are a lot of good matchups for Samoa Joe. Him and Bronson Reed. We saw Bronson Reed come back this week. A lot of good stuff down the pipe. Just like Mandy Rose, fresh coat of paint for Samoa Joe. It's going to do wonders.
But why do you think that? But why do you think this is happening, Aaron? Let's take a second here. They let him go. There must have been a reason why they let him go. Do you think they let him go to see how the fans would react? so that when they brought him back, do you think this was planned the whole time? This idea of letting him go, the fans getting upset, the fans reacting, then surprisingly bringing him back onto NXT, saying he's just an advisor to Regal, and then, or possibly becoming general manager, and then boom, setting up a match with the champion. Like this, he completely leapfrogged the entire division to just set up a match with the champion of NXT. In essence, this has been the whole buildup. Do you think they realize, look, if we let Samoa Joe go, the sympathy will be back on his side, and they'll go through NXT, because we don't want to just move him to NXT because we don't think we can do anything with him on the main roster. Do you think this is the logic, or do you think they're trying to revitalize him a little bit and then bring him back up?
I think they probably realized, like, they weren't sure what they had in Joe. Okay, like, well, he's had these concussions. What are we going to do with him? If we're not going to do anything with him, we just probably let him go and do whatever he wants, because we're not going to use him for commentary when we go in a different direction. Then I think somebody realized, oh, shit, like, he's probably not too far away from being cleared. So let's bring him back, because Triple H likes him, of course. And if Triple H likes you, you probably just go to NXT. So, I mean, let's bring him back to NXT. Let's put him in the fold. Let's see what can happen. He's a former champion, just like Finn was. You know, Finn kind of went immediately into the title picture too. So you might as well just wedge Samoa Joe in there, because you would believe that, because Samoa Joe is a guy that's a badass and doesn't need to go to the back of the line when the guy's been on top. So that's where it makes sense to me. And then when Karrion Kross has cleared out the entire division, more or less, because he's beaten, you know, everybody there. He beat the Mount Rushmore of NXT. There's only one way to go, and that's to beat one of the NXT all-time greats. And the only one you got around right now is Samoa Joe, because he's already beat Finn Balor. Right.
Well, all right. That makes sense. Mataranta says the rumor was Joe wanted to do more than just commentary. That's for sure. That's
understandable.
For sure. Yeah. And Justin Toner saying Triple H called him within hours of when he was let go and said, let me make some calls. And boom, he was on his way to NXT. Yeah, it's certainly a possibility here. All right. I don't see any new Streamlabs and Super Chats. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. We got 58, almost 60 of y'all watching us live right now. Send in some support for the show. Send in some love for the show. You see the Streamlabs address in right above Aaron's head. It's in the description of this video as well. And it's pinned in the chat, or should be pinned in the chat. If not, I'll pin it again. But yeah, send in some support as we go along into the back half of the show. Where are we off to next, my brother?
Before we go, can you pull up that picture of Mandy again?
Oh, Lord. You know what?
Can you? Oh, baby. Okay, let's move on.
All right. All right, go ahead. Yes.
All right, so now we're moving on to All Elite Wrestling. We got some All Elite Wrestling results and a little bit of news going on. Dynamite, I guess it was AEW Fyter Fest Night 1, if you want to call it that.
Right.
With a nice big crowd, everybody cheering, having a good time. So let's start with the match card, then we can talk about it. John Moxley defeated Carl Anderson to retain the IWGP United States Championship. It's on the AEW belt, but okay. Ricky Starks defeats Brian Cage to win the FTW Championship, also not AEW belt, but okay. Christian Cage defeated Matt Hardy. Sammy Guevara defeated Wheeler Yuta. Yuki Sakazaki defeated Penelope Ford. And in the probably one of my favorite matches of the entire night, Darby Allin defeated Ethan Page in a coffin match. To get the bragging rights there. So what did you think of this overall? What did you think of the coffin match? I'm sure you liked that a lot.
I did enjoy the coffin match. I love a good coffin match. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I liked how Darby, Darby still gets shit from the fans. Darby's still people like, he's kind of riding the Sting wave. He's not really, he's not really 100% there, but every match I see no reason not to cheer for this guy. No reason not to be behind this guy. And I think he put on a hell of a match with Paige. Great back and forth in the end, and got the victory. So to me, I enjoyed the hell out of that match. I don't got any problems with that match. The Moxley match was okay, but I don't know, man. Do you feel like something's gone out of John? Like, is there something like I don't know. It's like he's not inspired because he's not really taken on the creme de la creme at this point. Do you think that? Am I off on this, or do you agree with me?
Well, they're trying to keep him in the mix to be like, hey, he's the IWGP United States champion. He's not the AEW World Champion, but we can look. He's got a belt. He's important. So they're trying to make him look important. But yeah, I kind of agree with you there because this was the thing in WWE. Like, do you remember the Austin Broken Skull sessions when Dean Ambrose was on there and he was like, it was the most awkward Broken Skull sessions of all time. He's just kind of like, are you lazy? Like, he's like, what? He's like, what's the deal? I'm not saying that. Like, I think John Moxley's one of the best wrestlers in the world. I think he's proved that.
I agree.
I I think that actually in this match, Carl Anderson showed more of what he could do, because Carl Anderson is somebody that I've been completely down on. The Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, to me are boring as hell. Yeah. I don't like them. I think that they are children. I think if they took themselves seriously and did a serious thing, they would be one of the best tag teams in the world, but they hold themselves back by doing juvenile stuff, and I'm just not into it. Yeah. But I thought he did very well. As far as Moxley goes, I mean, he's not going to be in that title picture for a minute, because you've got Kenny Omega's there, and you probably got Adam Page, you got to think is lurking around, and then AEW has this like massive signing according to Dave Meltzer that's coming soon. So who's that going to be? And you got to think they're going to be in the title picture. Where's Christian in the title picture? Like John Moxley's not going to be getting there for a while. So I hope this isn't a sign of things to come, because I like Moxley. I he's a world-renowned star. Yeah. I think that people on this show showed out more than him. Like Darby, I think, was excellent. I thought Ethan Page has like come so far from the way he used to be, and just the way that he cuts promos, the way that he his facials are good. Everything that he does so far in AEW has been great. And then you look at AEW right now, and I know I kind of bag on it, and that's whatever, but their best wrestler and their best draw right now is a cruiserweight that barely talks. So that's wild. And the coffin drop through the coffin after the coffin match was over was awesome. Yeah. So that's cool. I mean, Darby just does cool shit. Like every time I want to hate on Darby, I'm just like, that he does cool shit. Like I can't hate on the guy. Like he's probably going to hurt himself, but he does cool stuff.
But why do you want to hate on him? Like that's the thing I'm getting back to, is like, there's so many people that are cheering against him kind of overtly and behind the scenes as well, I imagine. And I don't get it. Like what is wrong with him that causes you to immediately go to the place where you want to doubt him? I haven't seen anything except an earnest, driven, determined kid who's getting a rub from Sting, and it's helping him kind of elevate himself to the next level. You're not seeing that?
I think when he initially came in, like my thoughts were, because I've seen Darby before, like in person, like in independent matches where he's like puking on people and like doing weird stuff. And I'm just this isn't for me. This is not for me. But ever since he's come to AEW, he's been like that underdog, almost like Jungle Boy. Like he's the guy you want to root for. Like this guy's small, but he will not stop. Like you're going to have to kill him to make him stop. And that's what helped Miro get over by beating him. Like he stopped Darby Allin. Like he choked out Darby Allin so bad that he couldn't go on anymore. And how tough is Miro to choke out Darby Allin? So ever since he's come to AEW, I think he's been great. It's just the stuff before where I'm like, I don't know about that.
Right. Fair. Okay. All right. That's so you're judging him by what's come before, and you anticipate that may come again. If this thing, so you're just kind of okay. I can understand that for sure. John Alexander says the Good Brothers have always just been lackeys to me, attached to AJ and WWE, and now Kenny Olivier. Shout out to Cornette. Okay. What does that mean?
Kenny, he called Lawrence Olivier. He calls him Kenny Olivier because he hates his acting and his facials. But I agree, man. Like everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people say to me in like my Facebook groups that they love the Good Brothers. Like, oh, look how fun these guys are. And I'm like, they suck. Like they've never, like I never went to a show and I was like, I cannot wait to see Gallows and Anderson do something. Like I don't care. Like their gimmick is stupid. Like they were badasses in New Japan with the Bullet Club. Yeah. But ever since then, like I don't care. You're boring. You're so boring.
Right. Don't disagree. I never. I mean, there was a little bit of a run, obviously, when they were the Bullet Club or part of that Balor Club. I mean, it was great. But then the WWE stuff has been so disappointing, dude. You're not wrong there. It's so incredibly disappointing.
And that's part of it too. Like WWE saddled them with terrible storylines. It's not all their fault, but it's true. Ever since then, they've you can kind of make your own path once they've left WWE and they went to Impact. And it's like what? And then they've kind of like been on both shows, and it's like, can you be on two national television programs and you're both boring as shit? I don't understand it.
Because they got size, and maybe they're liked by the guys in the back. What about the Ricky Starks win? Surprising to you at all, or did you think it was another good match for Ricky Starks?
I mean, it's a good feather in the cap. The FTW title means absolutely nothing. Like it means less than zero. I think that's the first time the title's been defended since it was gifted to Brian Cage. there's so much better stuff that Team Taz can be doing. This is a stable of talented guys like Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs. They've got guys that can do stuff, and they saddle them with this stupid infighting crap. Like if you looked at a picture of Ricky Starks, no offense, I think he's wonderful. I praise Ricky Starks all the time. And you look at a picture of Brian Cage, who the hell would win that match? No, like nefarious stuff. Brian Cage would kill this man and eat him for lunch. So it just doesn't work for me. Like if it was Powerhouse Hobbs, I could believe it because he's a big SOB.
Right.
But Ricky Starks, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. I'm looking at pictures right now. You're 1,000% right. And I mean, looks like, he looks like he's one of Cage's legs. Like it's ridiculous when you look at that. You're absolutely right. But I mean, that's wrestling, but that's wrestling.
It is, yeah. It's carny. I get
Big
it.
Show should never have lost any match ever in the history of mankind.
True story. You're right about that.
There, yeah. I mean, he got knocked out by Mayweather for God's sake. So it's how the game is sometimes. And then one last thing I want to ask you about. Well, Sammy did. It was pretty much just like what do you call that? One of those matches where he's like, just to reaffirm that Sammy is great and people, and he's one of the guys they have their eyes on for the future as a star. What do you take away from Christian Cage over Hardy? Like, does this mean anything? Pushing Hardy even further down, or is this gonna blow back up in Cage's face?
It's just a placeholder for Christian. Like they brought him in, and they're like, okay, he immediately starts a thing with Kenny Omega, and you're like, okay, well, they were gonna put him to Kenny Omega, makes sense. Get Kenny a nice win, get him a rub, and then they don't. They just go, okay, we're gonna funnel in Jungle Boy, see what we got with him, which is fine. And they found out they don't have much in terms of promo, but in terms of wrestling, it's good. Yeah. So I just don't think they know what to do with them right now. It's obvious. Like you put him in with Matt Hardy, it's like these dudes have wrestled 100,000 times across the world against each other. So I don't know, dude. It just seems like they have all this talent, and it's just sometimes it's there and sometimes it works. Like Darby and Ego works perfectly, right? And then like Cody and Aleister Black seems like it's going to work. And then you have this other stuff where it's like Christian and Matt Hardy. It's like, okay, but I feel like I've seen this movie 50 times already. I don't want to see it again. Yeah. I mean, I as a guy who grew up right in the heyday, those two guys, I just didn't, I was kind of bored by it, to be honest with you. Cause how can I say how many different ways can you do it? How many different ways can you present it?
Also, they're the less impressive of each other's legendary tag team. That's the honest truth. That's astute. That's a good point. That's the thing. Jeff Hardy versus Edge, that's an awesome match. Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy, not as awesome in my opinion. I never thought Matt was as good as Jeff, and I'll never think Christian was as good as Edge. There's a reason those guys have become legends, Edge and Jeff Hardy. And not that Christian won't be, but Christian had his run, but it was always a mid-card run, right? They never wanted to put the belt on Christian, and they were never going to put the belt on Matt Hardy. So, but Jeff had it. Jeff won it. So it's like if they've got those spots, and there's a reason for that. So that's why I think it was boring. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's like having Marty Jannetty against Robert Gibson of the Rock and Roll Express. It's like, this is fine, but I'd rather see Shawn Michaels versus Ricky Morton if we can do that.
Right. Or even Neidhart versus Jannetty. That no offense to Jimmy Anvil, he wasn't the showy guy. It was Brett. So it's just like, even I can admit that. So it's just like this. These are these things that you just kind of look at with tag teams, and it was kind of so when I was watching the match, I was like, okay, it just didn't do anything for me overall. What about Yuki Sakazaki? Were you impressed by her coming back in the win?
Don't care.
All right, fine.
Don't care. The AEW women's division is Britt Baker and Britt Baker only right now. So that's fair. And Thunder Rosa too, to a lesser extent, because I just can't get behind Thunder Rosa because I don't know. Are you NWA or are you AEW? Are you both? I don't understand it. I don't understand what's going on.
I don't disagree with you. I think she's splitting the fans' intentions. I think once she picks one federation to be with, the fans will coalesce behind her and then elevate. But there's no reason she shouldn't be in this conversation for these titles and these belts and eventually to go up against Britt Baker. There's no reason.
She's already beat her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's no reason there shouldn't be a setup there for her to go after that belt. So I don't know. Just seems odd to me. Make the decision, pay the woman her money and bring her over for God's sakes. Because Lord knows, I know they're paying all these other guys not to be in other federations, you sure as hell can pay her not to be in anything else but AEW, for God's sake. She's a star. She's a goddamn star. All right, and then you put down here that AEW sold 15,000 tickets in New York City for their upcoming show. What's that all about?
So they sold out the Arthur Ashe tennis complex in New York City, which is, I mean, that's a huge deal. That's no joke. 15,000 is no joke. It's AEW's biggest crowd they'll ever have, you know, or not out there. Excuse me. Right. Sorry, let me dial that back. It's their biggest crowd to date, I should say. Their biggest live event crowd to date. So, I mean, that's huge. That's massive. Yeah. AEW did over 1 million views in some parts of Dynamite, which is pretty damn good considering it's just gone up and up and up every week. So I want to give AEW and those guys their due. As you know, John and I don't always do that on here, so I definitely want to give them their due, credit where it is. The thing is, Dave Meltzer, you know, which I talked about a little bit earlier, but Dave Meltzer said they're planning a big signing for this that's bigger than Sting, bigger than Mark Henry, bigger than Big Show, bigger than Christian, bigger than anyone they've done before. So my question is, who's it going to be?
Bigger than the Outlaw? Okay, all right.
Bigger than the Outlaw. Let's. I mean, to me, it's 3 options of people that they could bring in. It's either CM Punk, which I don't think it'll be.
How dare you? Don't invoke CM Punk.
I'm just saying, it's big. It's big. It's massive. The only 3 people that could make a splash that would be like, wow, that warrant's big enough is CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar.
There's no effing way it's Lesnar.
Go where the money is.
I guess.
But let's workshop that for a second. Brock Lesnar, huge worldwide, arguably, and I'll say this, and people will be like, what? Maybe the best professional athlete of all time that's not Michael Jordan. Okay.
Wow.
Brock, I mean, look at it. Look at the thing. Like, amateur wrestling national champion, WWE champion, UFC heavyweight champion, went to the NFL for fun. Brock Lesnar is just an unbelievable talent. Just, you could, you know, you throw money at Brock Lesnar, he's going to show up and do the thing. But if you do that, if you're AEW and you do that, what happens to all the plans you've been building with Adam Page? All that goes away because you can't bring in Brock Lesnar and not put the title on him. Yeah. Because if they do that, if he comes in and beats the crap out of Kenny Omega, instant credibility to your title because Brock Lesnar is your champion. Yeah. So I don't think they'll do it because of that reason. I think they would just screw up all their plans. Like Daniel Bryan would fit in there so nicely. CM Punk is just somebody that I don't see coming. If I had to guess, my money is out of those 3 is on Daniel Bryan would make the most sense. I don't think it'll be any of the 3, honestly. So to be honest with you, but that's just what I'm saying.
Let me throw one out there at you.
All right.
And I don't know the contract situation, but they certainly pissed away his WrestleMania moment. Would Bray Wyatt be a possibility?
No, Bray Wyatt's a company guy, WWE guy. He's been advertised for upcoming shows. He's been out. He's been dealing with some stuff because of Luke Harper's passing. He's not been doing. That's the story.
Is that the story? Okay,
that's the rumors. He's not been doing well. Not been coping well with that. So taking some time off. So he's fine. Bray's a WWE guy through and through. They love him there. They love him. So he's not going anywhere.
I was just throwing it out there.
Someone in the chat, Zeno Hour says Switchblade Jay White. I mean, that would be interesting.
Oh, Jay White.
If you're going to bring but the thing is, if you're going to bring in somebody from New Japan, whether it be a Jay White, an Okada, or somebody like that, yes, it's going to be, and I'm going to paraphrase Jim Cornette because it's true. It's true what he said. I can't help it. You bring in Okada, that place is going to blow up.
True.
People are going to go insane. Everybody's going to know who it is. People are going to lose it on the internet. The second Okada walks out of the building onto New York City streets, nobody knows who he is.
Yes.
You put somebody like Brock Lesnar in there, they know who Brock Lesnar. That's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. Like, that's the truth. Right. But if it is Okada, to me and to wrestling fans, to us, massive signing. So it's just it depends on how you want to make a splash.
It wouldn't be Strowman, right? It wouldn't be Strowman, would it?
I don't know if his contract's up yet. I think that would be big, but I don't think that's big. I don't know if it's bigger than the rest, but it's close.
Okay. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people speculating, as you said earlier, Daniel Bryan. A lot of people speculating about him, which would kind of make sense. Do you mean? Because they brought in Mark Henry after it was over, Big Show after it was over, Christian Cage as he's on the tail end, Hardy on the tail end. So it would kind of make sense to bring Daniel Bryan over for maybe a little bit of a mini run. And his heart is always in the indies. Where he made his bones. So coming over there to AEW, which is in essence a hybrid of an Indian main event promotion, could work. And it doesn't necessarily throw a wrench into the Hangman, Adam Page, Kenny Omega situation. You could throw him in with Moxley. You want to see Moxley get re-inspired. Him and Daniel Bryan on a little bit of a program would be fantastic. Mm-hmm. He could take on Cage. He could take on Hardy. There's games to play here with him if he wants to come in. So and he certainly has put other talent over the last year or two in WWE. So he doesn't have an issue doing that. He respects the business.
Here's the problem with Daniel Bryan. His stepfather-in-law is John Laurinaitis, the VP of Talent Relations. So it's like, I get it. How awkward is that Thanksgiving? So it's just kind of like.
Business is business, though. I mean, it's hard to demand loyalty when you're dropping people left and right. And then, if someone's not being used, they want to go someplace where they could have some fun and shake things up. I don't know.
Has WWE treated Daniel Bryan bad? I don't.
No.
No way. I don't think they've ever treated Daniel Bryan unfairly. Except for the build up to WrestleMania 30, but they gave him the title.
They did eventually,
and ever since then, I feel like Daniel Bryan's been pretty much a made man. He was injured. They kept him on TV. They kept him getting a paycheck. They were. Watching his neck and concussion progress the entire time. They gave him the go ahead to come back. He was the champion again. He had some great runs. Daniel Bryan's doing fine. I don't understand, but we'll see. We'll see.
Is this true? I just wonder if Bryan went to AEW, how that would affect the Bellas comeback they are planning. The Bellas planning to come back?
That's a rumor that they are planning one more run, but I don't think it's going to happen because
they got put in the Hall of Fame. It's over.
Nikki's neck is a stack of dimes, man. Don't fuck with it. Don't mess with it. Just had crazy neck surgery. She's not Edge. I'm sorry, she's not Edge. I know she's very physically fit and works out,
of course.
But my goodness, you get dropped on your head, you're done. You're done, man. I fear that with Edge every time I see him.
Yep. So. Yep. I feel it with Daniel Bryan for the last 3 years. Every time I've seen him, the second he leaves the ground and does his thing in the corner, I'm always waiting for that one moment where he slips and it's like, bang, that's it. And then it's like, oh my God. But yeah, the Bellas, I don't get why you're so successful without it. Why do you need to come back? It just doesn't make sense at all in any way, shape, and you're going to get booed. The fans don't want you back, not at the level that you think they want you back. Your influencer fans love you, but the WWE universe, I think they'll turn on them so quick, and then you'll hear the complaints all over again from the Bellas every time they get booed, every time people, the haters, they're jealous and blah, blah, blah. No, they just don't like what you do, and that's okay too. Yeah.
You just
at
WrestleMania, for instance, this year's WrestleMania, we wanted Bayley to come out, and we got the freaking Bella Twins, and it's like, come on, we don't want it. We want Bayley.
People booed, whatever. No matter how much they try to cover it up or pipe it out, people booed. One last question: what about Kota Ibushi? Do you think that matters?
I don't know what his contract situation is, but once again, big splash, big huge thing for wrestling fans. You walk out of that stadium.
Yep. Nobody knows.
Unless you're wearing a shirt that says "I'm Kota Ibushi and I'm in AEW and I'm important," nobody's going to know who the heck you are.
Even
that's no offense to him. It's just the truth.
Even then. All right. Let's see. We got one Streamlab from Justin Toner. One Streamlab. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're entertaining you pretty damn well on this show. Send in some support. Come on. Justin says, hi, John and Aaron. NXT and Dynamite really entertained me this week. Give me Joe versus Kross ASAP. Hangman Omega storyline keeps getting better. And SmackDown was great with the fans. Big pops for Edge. Bianca Belair and Finn Balor in his return. The blue brand is stacked now. Yeah, absolutely. Aaron. Certainly, we're going to get into that. I think next, right?
Let's just move right into it.
Let's do that. Let's talk about it
before we get into our Money in the Bank preview and our predictions. I mean, it is worth noting that SmackDown was in Houston last night. A lot of capacity crowd, very loud, animated crowd. Of course, Edge came out with Rey Mysterio, and Dominic Mysterio got the huge pop. Yeah. Roman Reigns got like the boo cheer, like we respect you kind of reaction, which was cool. Yeah, and I thought it was a good show. They did what they needed to do. We saw the return of Finn Balor. Of course, I kind of saw that coming, that he was going to go to SmackDown. There's really nothing for him else to do in NXT. Yeah. And Davey Boy Smith Jr. Was wrestling a dark match with Austin Theory in a tag team match. So it looks like, and according to a thing they did on WWE.com, he's back. Yeah. Like, it's not a tryout match. Davey Boy Smith Jr. is back full time with WWE. It looks like he's going to be on SmackDown. So I'm super excited to see that. I think that 10 years away from WWE has done wonders for him. He's gone all around the world, really honed his craft. He looks like $1 million, looks a lot like his dad, but is way more athletic than his dad. So excited to see what Davey Boy Smith Jr. can do. And there's a lot for Finn to do too. And Roman's going to need challengers. Finn's a good one. So why not put him in there? But SmackDown was pretty fun last night. What'd you think, man?
I liked it. It was great to see fans back. And, we've talked about how many times that something's missing. And this may have been a little bit of what was missing. Certainly having fans in the arena, the performers seemed to be re-inspired last night. Did it lead to great classic legendary matches? No, but you could tell that they were happy to be back in front of the crowd. Vince coming out, giving them shit, I thought was brilliant as well. That's what a guy does. He knows. And all the crappy stuff that's been happening with them, releasing all these wrestlers, the stuff with Mickie James, all the other things you're hearing behind the scenes, Vince can come out and the fans just eat it up. And he's just smart about it. And so I thought that was nice. The Finn Balor thing, though, the return is great. Sami Zayn, I don't know, man. I like Sami Zayn, love Sami Zayn, but I don't know if this is the right opponent for him to come back with to kind of elevate Finn Balor back into the fans' eyes. This feels like more of the same of when he left, pairing him with programs with wrestlers that don't have great chemistry with him and aren't necessarily going to put on good shows with him or good programs with him, and aren't really considered the top of the top talent in the WWE. Zayn is great, don't get me wrong, but he's not Reigns. He's not up there with the greats at this point. So I don't know. It seems like an odd choice to bring him back. Maybe this is a way of working him back into the fans' eyes. I don't know. What did you think about this pairing with Zayn?
Well, Sami Zayn to me has been doing some of the best, most unique work of his WWE run for sure. I mean, nothing. I don't think anything's going to beat his NXT run. I think he's was great there. But I think it's a placeholder, because I think when Edge and Roman Reigns go at it at Money in the Bank, we talk about that in a minute. I don't think Edge is going to get the championship. I think they keep planting these seeds for Rollins versus Edge. They keep planting those seeds in there, and I think that's what we're going to get at SummerSlam. Yeah. And that's going to leave Roman open. So who do you have Roman go against at SummerSlam that makes sense? People are saying, who's going to fill that spot? Why not Finn Balor? A guy that's beaten Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship before, because he was in that match leading up to go to the Universal title match. So there's a story there if you want to tell it. Yep. And why not have Roman Reigns take on a guy that he lost to before and I don't think is beat? Yeah. So I mean, storyline fits. I just think it's a placeholder. I think if you put Finn in the mid card again, it's going to be tough for him to get out, because we're not going to see the demon paint for a while, I don't think. No. But it also looked like they turned him like full babyface like he was before. Like in NXT, he was kind of like the cool guy, like kind of like I'm not on anybody's side. But now it's like he's back to doing the thing. When he in NXT, he was doing the bullets, which was great. So I don't know, dude.
I mean, look, maybe in front of a crowd, he's going to be his stuff is going to go even farther, because you're right. This is some of the best work Sami Zayn has done in a long time. So maybe in front of a crowd to play off of, it's going to be even greater. And maybe that'll inspire Finn, who I always felt has had, even though everyone does this, right? I always think there's a disconnect between Finn and the fans. There's just a little bit of a disconnect there overall. They appreciate and they respect him and they love doing the intro, but they don't necessarily live and breathe and die with his matches, right?
I don't know, dude. I would push back on that.
Really? Okay. All right. I don't know if I felt that myself, but maybe. All right. Maybe you're right. But I don't know that I've ever felt that. So, and whereas with Shinsuke, I think the fans love every second he's on there when they've programmed him correctly. He is very, him coming out for this four-way match or five-way match was great. And, having them play the guitar, having homie play the guitar to get him psyched up to be in the match was great. All of that was fun. And him wearing the crown is just so perfect.
My wife's favorite WWE performer, Rick Boogs.
Yeah, Boogs.
As she reminds me. And I was like, how do you know who Rick Boogs is? She's like, and she won't tell me. It's this weird thing we have going on because my wife doesn't watch wrestling. She knows a few people. She knows a few people. And then all of a sudden she's like, what do you think about Rick Boogs? And I was like, what? That's so obscure. I have no idea. And she won't tell me how she knows him or she just keps messing with me.
Maybe a friend of hers dated him. Who knows?
I don't know. Did Rick Boogs slide the DMs? What happened?
Slide up in the DMs.
I don't know.
The other part of this, talk to me. What's Shotzi? Now she's Shotzi. She's no longer Shotzi Blackheart. Her and Tegan Knox taking on Natalya and Tamina, and they won. Natalya and Tamina. I don't know what this does. And also having Liv Morgan and Zelina Vega at ringside kind of distracted people from this whole thing. It kind of undercut. Yeah, the Shotzi and Tegan Knox being together here, it kind of undercut their victory because they were focused on Liv Morgan and the fans were going crazy for Liv. You tweeted about this. You said you don't understand why fans love Liv as much as they do, but clearly WWE senses they could have a star in here. Liv has finally maybe gotten over to the point where they want to highlight her. So what do you think about this decision?
Well, I think okay. So Justin Toner says it in the chat. Natty and Tamina got zero reaction from the fans.
Yeah.
100%.
Why? And you know why? Because they're fucking boring. But
yeah. They gave the old ladies their tag team championship. And now that we have fans back, I'm saying it.
Yeah.
We gave the old ladies their title, and now we're going to take it off of them because they're boring and nobody cares. Yeah. So we're going to give it to Tegan and Shotzi, who are fun and interesting and actually are exciting in the ring and have personalities. So we're going to give it to them or somebody close to them, and maybe they can do something with it, which I don't think it can be saved at this point. I think the NXT and WWE Women's Tag Team Championships suck. I think the Impact with Knockouts Championships suck. Yeah. I think the NWA announced they were doing Women's Tag Team Championships. I'm like, that sucks. Like, don't do it. Not because the women don't deserve it. It's just there's not enough women to support the division, so it doesn't make sense. But it's like you said, they're boring as shit, and we need people that are going to be exciting that the fans like Shotzi, the fans like Tegan Knox. Here comes a person on a tank, and then it's like, oh, here's Natalya, Tamina, great.
Right.
Their dads were wrestlers. That's fun.
That's it. Exactly.
That's it.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. I no disrespect to Natty, but for years I've been saying nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. And it's not about her talent. It's not about her ability. Just the fans kind of accept her, but nobody's inspired to see a Natty match. Nobody's like, oh, I gotta see this one tonight. It's like, it's not. And I mean, Shotzi and kudos to them. They understand their business, their workers. They got them over more, Shotzi and Tegan. But I think it was having Liv down there with Zelina is the confounding thing about the SmackDown women's division. Yes, you're bringing these women in, but don't use other women to take attention away from the women you're trying to promote. It just doesn't make sense. Have Liv do a separate thing, having her and Zelina down there at the same time, unless you're going to pair them up, which you're not. It just doesn't make sense. So to me, I thought it was a colossal mistake. And once again, they're being reductive in their thinking towards women's wrestling. And it's very frustrating. You can have multiple segments of women's wrestling in a show. To put them all into one segment or one match, I think is so reductive in how you approach this with all your talk about how you love this is the best place for women's wrestling. To put them all in one fucking section, I think was a massive mistake. And Tony Storm is coming. And if you fuck up that situation, fuck you. That woman is a star a star, and she's young. She can wrestle. People love her. She's attractive. Dudes are about her. Hey, this is a great situation. Don't mess this up. But already I'm seeing what they did last with the Shotzi Tegan thing. It doesn't give me a good feeling that they're going to get the Toni Storm thing right, and that she's not just going to get lost in the mix of women. And by the way, Carmella last night killed it. Remember her? She was great in the match with Bianca. So to me, I'm like, this is good. You're setting this up. Let's start separating things out and, make room for all these women you're bringing in and give them segments. Don't just put them all into one. I don't know. I don't mean to get on a soapbox.
Well, no, it's like, I mean, how do you book this badly? Like, look at the talent that you have. How do you book this women's division badly? So Carmella has a great performance against Bianca Belair. Crowd loved Belair. Good to see her getting a great reaction.
Yes.
And then they say, okay, well, Bianca gets a win over Carmella. Let's do it again next week. Yeah. Let's not. Let's move on. Or maybe let's talk about something else. Like, why could they not extend this? Like create better storylines for not just everybody, but especially the women's division. It seems like they forgot how good it can be. Yeah. And it's not just Charlotte. It's not just Becky Lynch. Like there are women in these divisions that can kick ass. Like now they don't have Becky, they don't have Sasha, and they don't have Bayley right now. So all they've got is Charlotte and everybody else. So, you got to make it work. Yeah. You got to make it work.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, you could have had her fight someone else, and then Carmella comes in maybe 10 minutes in the match or 8 minutes into the match and messes it all up, causes a disqualification. Then you carry that over for the next week. That's how I don't understand this like rematch. People bored with the rematches, man, because you got them invested in the first fight, and then if the same result is in the second fight, who fucking cares after that? And so you've killed the program to a degree. So I don't know. That's my opinion, but what the fuck do I know, man? It just gets frustrating watching these women get forgotten and pushed to the side. I'm just saying, it just gets, because I'll guarantee you they're going to start fucking up the Bianca thing. I guarantee you that's going to start to fall apart very soon, and I worry about that. So we'll see.
She's been booked better than Rhea.
That's for sure. Oh my god. Poor Rhea.
They made Rhea Ripley uncool.
Yep.
And I don't know how you do that. Like she was so cool, like coming in, like, oh, this is so different. And then now it's like, God, why? I don't want to root for her anymore.
If you bring the Rebel into the main show and you turn the Rebel into a mainstream thing and you shave down the edges and you soften the edges and you dull the edges, don't be surprised that it's not getting over. And this is what's frustrating. So her and Charlotte, maybe that's going to be, and we'll talk, I suppose we should segue into that. We're going to talk about, do our Money in the Bank preview and predictions, but I don't know what I'm not excited about that match in any way, shape, or form because I already saw it and it was great the first time I saw it. Yeah. I don't know.
It's just too much.
Look how they did with Shayna. How do you mess up Shayna? Shake my head. Yeah, exactly.
I honestly forgot Shayna wasn't on Raw. Yeah. That's bad. Right. Anyway, I guess I won't be on WWE anytime soon. We're both not, no.
I like to tell my real opinions. Christian Ramos says, hey guys, my best guess for the mystery AEW signing with Dan Lambert, Amanda Nunes, and Jorge Masvidal popping up on a Dynamite. Maybe it's a current UFC guy turning pro wrestler. Imagine Cain Velasquez or Daniel Cormier type being a big name for AEW Grand Slam in New York. Christian, I'm not going to give you Kane. I could give you Cormier, but I can't give you Kane. Kane, that was a complete and utter fumble by the WWE with him and Rey Mysterio. And so people remember that. So that's what they've attached to Cain Velasquez. I don't think that would get a pop at all. Cormier could get a pop though, if we're in your proposed possibilities.
But then again, you walk out of that stadium and you're like, oh, you must be some sort of football player. It's like,
maybe.
I don't know what kind of impact they're trying to make. It depends.
Yeah, it depends. Justin Toner says, looking forward to Toni Storm's debut on SmackDown next week. Thoughts on the rumors Goldberg is coming back to Raw to challenge Lashley for the WWE title at SummerSlam? I say, please, no. Yeah, dude, this popped up on my phone and I almost threw it against the wall just reflexively. But yes, and look, I used to love Goldberg, but like I'm at that point where like, come on already. So what do you think about these rumors, Aaron? I
don't have to tell you. You already know. You already know. I don't need to go on a soapbox about it. I don't enjoy Goldberg. Never have. He, ended Bret Hart's career, caused him to have a stroke.
Yeah.
So not a Goldberg guy. His match with Drew McIntyre earlier this year, last year, I don't know anymore. It was bad. It wasn't good. And he can only go like 5 minutes, which, for a Goldberg style match, that's fine. What's he going to do? Squash Bobby Lashley, who's had a great year?
Yeah.
Please, God, no. It doesn't do anything for him. It doesn't do anything for Lashley. We don't need it. We have so many other people on the roster that could be getting title shots or getting over. It's unnecessary. It's absolutely unnecessary.
Here's the only way this works. Lashley defeats him in like less than 3 minutes and completely mauls him. Goldberg gets the Goldberg treatment for the first time in his career. That would be the way you do this. Lesnar and Lashley is the match. Okay. That's the one that's got to happen at some point. But Goldberg, who is 50 something years old, it poses no threat to Lashley. Okay. And that should be the way they play it. Like when Lesnar kicked the shit out of Cena with all those fucking Greco-Romans and punches. That's what you need, a complete and utter mauling. Then it's over and you move forward. You've put him over as much as you can in a match with Goldberg and you move on from it. And you've given Goldberg the amount of appropriate time that he can handle a match nowadays, 3 minutes, and you're done with it, man. So,
we know, but it's not going to happen because Goldberg's going to have to get his stuff in. So there's going to have to be a spear. There's going to have to be a threat of a jackhammer. Like it's just going to do nothing. It's not going to help. It's not going to help Bobby at all. It's just that's my concern. It's not going to help Bobby, and that's the reason we're doing this.
I would only do it if Goldberg comes in and spears him, and he never goes down. Like he bounces off Lashley. That's the only way that makes any fucking sense to bring Goldberg in. So if you can put him over, yeah. When Lesnar I loved Lesnar when he took Cena to Suplex City, bitch. Yeah, that was a fucking great thing. But also it put Cena over. So in a way, it kind of went against the people who were hating on Cena. One last super chat. John Alexander says, I'm digging Pat and how he jams out every time Boogs comes out, standing on the table and smashing waters together like Stone Cold. I'm old school, right? And nothing is pay. Pat, shout out to you for being a fucking place kicker who became a superstar on your social media so much you parlayed that to your commentating on WWE. Dude, more 1,000 props to you. I wish I could have done that. So shout out to you, man. But that being said, I'm an old school guy. If you're a commentator and you make yourself the story over the wrestlers and the people and the athletes who are in the ring, I think that's a mistake. How would he feel if Jack Buck or Troy Aikman was doing all this shit while he was playing the NFL during one of his big pressure kicks, making it all about himself and, acting the fool? I don't think he'd like that. So to me personally, I get it. I'd rather he did it with his voice than his antics. But like I said, I'm old school, so you don't have to listen to me. What do you think, Aaron?
I think you're a little old school in this one because I'll tell you this. Sometimes WWE commentary can sound like golf announcers, like Michael Cole. Like we talked about Michael Cole before. Like
my feelings on Michael Cole.
I know your feelings. And sometimes it's like, and a suplex. Very nice. Very nicely done. Very soft suplex. But Pat McAfee injects like that.
Oh, he does.
That idiom in there is just like, boom. Like that culture, that TikTok culture, that like eccentric personality is just boom, like, and we need that. Like sometimes we need that as wrestling fans. Sometimes we need that on commentary. He makes you pay attention, which is good. Yeah. Like, oh my God, like, okay, maybe I should have been excited for that.
Yeah.
So that part of it is good. As long as Pat doesn't push it too far, like over the line, like you said, to make it all about him, I'm good. Just don't do that.
But he's already wrestled Adam Cole.
And he was great.
Yeah. So don't tell me they're not already thinking that down the road. And I think these histrionics and these reactions are on purpose so that at some point down the road, one of these wrestlers is going to be upset about it. And that's going to be the program they get into and work. Just like Cole did with Lawler and shit. They're going to do that and make it a part of his thing. I like him on the mic. Love him on the mic. I got no problems with his commentary on the mic. I think it's great. But like Gilmore, I think, posted a video. Brad Gilmore, a friend of the show, posted a video of him because I think he was there, and they showed the video of where Kevin Owens went off the ladder onto the table, and you saw McAfee like jumping up and down like a wild man. And so to me, I just was like, but I get it. You know, Corey Graves never did that shit. You know, none of these guys who were great color guys ever did. I mean, Lawler would do it every once in a while, but it was with his high-pitched voice, or he'd do the kind of like thing, but he would never make himself necessarily the center of the thing by acting like that. But like you said, I'm maybe old school, maybe the younger generation enjoys that shit and loves it. So, and Pat certainly has a hell of a social media following to support anything he does. So, you know, I could be just wrong on this, but we'll see. But it may be a setup to down the road set him up with a program because he's acting this way.
And to be fair, like his jumping around and stuff wasn't on camera.
Right.
Somebody
fair.
captured it. It wasn't on camera.
Fair
so
point,
that wasn't meant for that was only meant for like the live crowd. So
yeah, fair point.
Just one of those things.
No worries, my man. All right, but I do like Pat McAfee. Don't anybody start twisting my words. I like him a lot, and I respect what he's been able to do for sure. Who wouldn't want to? Like, if tomorrow the WWE called me up and handed me a commentator position, I would take it in a heartbeat because it'd be a blast to do that. So him able to parlay this the way he did, all props to him. All props to him. The histrionics. I don't know. It's my thing. All right, where are we off to next, my man? The Money in the Bank here.
Yeah, Money in the Bank preview. You want to handle that, or you want me to handle it?
No, yeah, let's do it. Let me bring it up on the mic here. Okay. Pre-show. So we're gonna go through the matches here. We're gonna give you our thoughts, what we think is gonna happen, who's gonna win, who's gonna lose, maybe who's gonna come in or surprise us all. That's what we're gonna do here to wrap up the show. So if you want to send in the super chat or a Streamlab, now is the time before we wrap up the show here in the next 10 minutes. But yeah, pre-show is the Usos versus the Mysterios. Aaron, the Usos, both of them. All right.
Yeah.
What do you
Jimmy
think?
And Jay. God, it would be so weird for them to put the tag team titles on the Usos, especially after Jimmy's DUI. Like we talked about it last week. It just hasn't. It just doesn't sit right with me at all. But I feel like that's what they're going to do because they're in a main event. They're in a main event program with Roman Reigns, so it makes sense. They have all the gold.
All right.
I feel like that's what they're going to do. So I'm gonna go with the Usos to win reluctantly.
Okay. All right. Or do you think they have them pay the price for the DUI by having the Mysterios win?
I think they're going to give them the titles.
Okay.
I don't think they're good. I think they're hoping people forgot about it.
All right. I'm going with the Mysterios as punishment. That's what I'm thinking. And making him wrestle the match to lose and making him take the pin as kind of a punishment thing so that down the road, when they do win it, he is atoned for what he did. All right. AJ Styles and Omos versus the Viking Raiders for the Raw Tag Team Championship. This is happening. Thoughts?
It's happening. I'm going to go with AJ and Omos because how can you stop Omos? He's a giant man. How can you stop him?
Yeah, and it ain't going to be the Viking Raiders who are going to stop him. And I like the Viking Raiders. Don't get me wrong, but Omos is probably going to smash them into pieces, and Styles will get that pin, I think, in the end. All right, women's Money in the Bank ladder match. You have some strong opinions on this. Zelina Vega, who is back. I love Zelina. Liv Morgan, who's been trying to kind of establish herself a little bit more. Natalia, of course. Tamina, of course. Alexa Bliss. Nikki Cross, superhero Nikki Cross. Asuka and Naomi. That's a lot of people, homie. Who do you got winning this one? Or what do you think is going to happen?
Let's see. Asuka won it last year. I'm going to go. She's won it before.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss. It makes sense for Alexa Bliss to win that Money in the Bank championship because you've got Rhea Ripley as your champion. I think she's going to stay the kind of tip of my hand, but it's at least somewhat interesting. You got a character that's over that can sell some tickets and can put some butts in seats. People want to see Alexa Bliss. They love her. Yeah. So it would make sense if they want to do something weird with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I'll go with Alexa. I think it makes sense.
You're 1,000% wrong. That's going to be Liv Morgan.
Okay. Oh God.
Yes, it is. I hate to break it to you. They have been setting this up. It is going to be Liv. Or Zelina, but I think it's Liv. It's one of those two, in my opinion. And I think Liv takes it, and they give her a little bit of a run to see what she can do with it. And if she blows it, then you're not going to see a run from her for a long time. So I think they sense the fans are getting over with her. She got a great reaction on SmackDown. And she's young, she's blonde, she's beautiful. So I think they want to give it a shot and see what happens. So I think Liv will somehow find her way to get her hands on that briefcase and win it. So that's what I think.
Fair enough.
David Hall is like, Lily will be inside the briefcase. That would be kind of awesome.
What a nice twist.
Alexa wins. That would be great. Oh my God. All right. Next one here. But I think this is going to be a quietly good match. I'm sad Carmella's not in this, man, because I think Carmella would be a lot of fun to see in this match for sure. All right. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship. We already kind of speculated whether we're excited about this one or not, but what do you think happens here?
Rhea's going to win, and it's going to be boring, and let's move on. It's true. Like, we've seen it enough. Change the channel.
Yeah, I know. You're right. I don't know. I kind of think they might swerve all of us since Rhea hasn't quite been getting as over as they would like. What a great way to inject a little anger from the fans, a little more tension from the fans. If Charlotte wins this thing, that would be interesting. So, and they work well together. We've seen some really great matches, and certainly Ripley did the job for Charlotte at WrestleMania a few years ago. So I don't know. I'm going to go with Charlotte in a massive upset. I'm just going to go with Charlotte in a massive upset. They sometimes swerve us when we don't see it coming. So I'd like to be ahead of a swerve once in a while and go with that one. So I got Charlotte in this one. All right. Men's Money in the Bank's Ricochet, remember him? Versus Drew McIntyre versus John Morrison versus Matt Riddle, bro, versus Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins versus Nakamura. All right. What do you got, man? Our namesake, Shinsuke Nakamura, strong style. What do you got?
Wait for it.
Okay.
Wait for it.
All right.
Bro.
No.
No, he's not going to win. But I would love to see it. I think the MVP of this match is going to be John Morrison. I think John Morrison's going to go all over the place. I think he's going to be awesome. It's got to be Big E. If you want to pick Big E to be the guy and to go ahead and do this and be the dude that's going to beat Roman Reigns, it's got to be Big E. That's got to be the only pick.
Yeah, it wasn't included in your list of people, so I apologize if I didn't say it, but Big E is my choice.
I didn't put Big E in there.
Yeah, no. That's all right. That's all right.
He's so important, I didn't put him in the list.
You just assumed. Yeah, I got Big E as well. I think, this is the payment for losing to Apollo Crews and handing that thing over, and everybody has been expecting him to make this run towards the title, so it makes all the sense in the world for Big E to win this one, and I think the fans will go crazy if he wins this one. If they give it to the bro, I'm going to turn off the pay-per-view.
Oh, come on. He's good.
He's the Liv Morgan of male wrestlers, in my opinion.
Easy now.
I know you hate it. I
didn't like that.
I saw it better when it was Rob Van Dam. All right. And then the next match we got here. As I said,
You're not wrong.
Always agree.
You're not wrong.
Bobby Lashley versus Kofi Kingston. What do you got? WWE title on the line here.
Good match, going to be important for Bobby, going to be a definitely important win. Kofi, of course, is going to show out like he always does. It's going to be probably the steal of the night in terms of matches, and 1,000%. Bobby Lashley will win, and it will be a good match, and we will respect both of them for it.
Absolutely. 1,000% agree with you. I think Kofi's going to give the match of his life in this match, or one of them, and I think it's going to be fantastic, and he's going to come real close. But that's the respect that I think Bobby Lashley wants to pay to him. Because a lot of black wrestlers, give a lot of love to Kofi for winning the title, full black wrestler winning the title. So I think he's going to go all the way to right at the end, and then eventually Lashley gets that victory. Through heel means, but gets the victory over Kofi. But it's going to be an awesome match. I think you're right. It might steal the night. And then finally, Edge versus Roman Reigns. This has been coming. Edge put that to bar in Reigns' mouth and yanked him back at the end of the SmackDown match, or during this match. What do you think happens here, my man?
I think Roman's going to win. Like I said, I think Seth Rollins is going to have something to do with it because they keep teasing it. They keep teasing that back when Rollins had the Money in the Bank briefcase and stood on Edge's neck when he was a part of the corporation or whatever. Yeah. So they keep teasing that. I think that's where we're going for SummerSlam. So I'm going to pick Roman Reigns, the head of the table, to retain.
Yep. I think so too. There's no reason to take the belt off Roman Reigns right now. It makes no sense. He's so over. He's so big right now. There's no logical reason. But once again, Edge going to deliver a hell of a match, an incredible match. But it's not time to put the belt on Edge. It makes no sense. It's too much of a left turn right now for where they're going, especially now back that they're live. It works better for Edge to be an underdog, constantly trying to get this belt, and Reigns being the asshole heel who keeps the belt. So that's my point of view on that. I think I agree with you as well. I think Reigns wins that one. And maybe even Rollins. A lot of people are thinking Rollins is going to interfere in some way and set up Rollins versus Reigns. What do you think?
I don't think we're going to get Rollins versus Reigns. I think a lot of people are thinking it's going to be Roman Reigns and John Cena at SummerSlam. He's got to promote Suicide Squad. So that could be it. And then, of course, he's got Fast 9 still out there being promoted. So makes sense. I don't think he'll beat Roman, but I think that we will see the return of one John Cena.
God, no. No, bro. Oh, boy. I don't want to see that. All right.
Word life.
All right, let's get out of here.
Word life.
Thank you all. That's it. That's it for this episode of Strong Style. We appreciate you all hanging out with us on this Saturday afternoon, evening, or morning, whenever you're watching us, or maybe you're watching us later on in the week. We appreciate it madly. Thanks to everyone who sent in the super chat and a Streamlab today. We appreciate the support as well. Aaron, thanks again, brother. Another awesome, fun show. Where can they find you, my man? Everything got going on?
You can find me on Twitter at @OnlyAaronTurner. You can find my match in the FCL this week against Alex Marzonia on the Schmodown Twitch channel. It was a good match. I'm very proud of my performance. And you can also find me this week on Inside the FCL. This week in the FCL. It's a podcast, a fan podcast that was done. They had me on this week. So
nice.
That's going to be coming out soon. So definitely check that out. Just check my socials. I'll promote it. And can you, one more time, you just put that picture of Mandy Rose on there one more time?
I don't understand. All right, there it is. Mandy
but
Rose.
That's Mr. That's Paul Orndorff.
It's a better body. Come on. How dare you?
That's a lie. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Cool. I'm good. Thanks.
Jesus
Thanks.
Christ.
I gotta go clean out my garage.
Oh, you're so ridiculous. All right, go do your thing. You can follow me at the Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram, and you can follow me on Twitch, the Outlaw Nation on Twitch as well. Got over 400 people following me now. Come and add on to that. Let's get going to 500. Let's go to 1,000 for God's sakes. I'll be doing a watch along of the NBA game tonight. So sometime after we're done with our stereo show, we're going to be doing that at 4 p.m. PT on stereo. The Lady Outlaw and I talking Black Widow. We've been doing one movie a week in release order, but we thought before we get to Infinity War, we'd watch Black Widow. So it just kind of worked out in a certain way that Black Widow occurs before Infinity War, right after Civil War. So it's the right time to watch. So we went to a theater. First time ever she's seen a Marvel movie in the theater. So we're going to talk about that tonight at 4:00. What were you going to say, Aaron?
I said nice. I do want to throw in one thing if I can. If you want to, I don't want to see the Mandy Rose picture again, I promise. But anyway, so I'm getting a PS5. You got a PS5.
Yeah.
If you guys are interested in seeing like Rocha and I stream games together, just like make a comment or something in this video and let us know. I think it would be fun. We want to, when WWE 2K22 eventually comes out, I think we want to stream that and play that for everybody. So just let us know.
Hell yeah. And maybe do some pay-per-view watch-alongs, you dumbass. I'd like to do some of that on Twitch as well. Yeah, I'm talking to you, son.
Jesus.
I'd like to do that on our Twitch as well. That'd be a lot of fun.
Fine.
And more wrestling content is never a bad thing. We're not going to get over until we do more. All right. And as I said, you can follow me at the Rocha Says, but please remember to subscribe to the channel down below. It's really important. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button. We got so much going on here on the Outlaw Nation channel, more reactions, reviews. I'll have my review up for Space Jam: A New Legacy. And I also did a trailer reaction because fuck it, for F-Boy Island. I was like, let's see what this is about. So I did a trailer reaction for that. Wow. It's got 4 million views, that trailer. So I'm like, let's see what this is about. So look for that one because that was certainly an experience overall. And what else? Oh, in the Schmodown, Ultimate Schmodown After Show today at 3 p.m. PT live on this channel. Claudia Dolph will be their guest on there as well. So all kinds of stuff happening here. And tomorrow, the Geek Buddies Bad Batch review of the last 2 episodes of Bad Batch. Us and Laura Kelly hanging out doing that in the morning as well. So look for that. All right, that's it. We're out of here. You guys are awesome. We love you madly. And make sure you share this on your social media and tell everybody about it so they can get on board the Strong Style train. And we'll see you next week for another brand new live episode of Strong Style. R.I.P. Mr. Wonderful. Hell yeah.